but it's used for. Triggered data has two main functions. First, it provides a way of performing calculations that don't need to be done at sampling rate for use in a poly or mono section. Second, it allows you to build extremely detailed and complex user interface elements which only need to respond when you interact with them. As a general rule, the DSP is handled by the stream data, and the user interface is handled by the triggered data. Triggered data types. The various triggered data types can themselves be grouped into several categories based upon their purpose. Primary types. These are the most commonly used types. They represent simple data like numbers and text. Float. A 32-bit floating point number. INT. A 32-bit signed integer in the range 2,147,483,648 to 2,147,483,648. String. An alphanumeric string of characters of unlimited length. Boolean. One of two values. True or false. Trigger. Not really a data type, there is no data, but used to pass trigger messages. Array types. These types represent resizable arrays of some of the primary types. An array is just an ordered list of items of the same type. Array types have a four-leaf outline pattern instead of a circle. Float array. Array of 32-bit floating point numbers. INT array. Array of 32-bit signed integer in the range 2,147,483,648 to 2,147,483,648. String array. Array of characters strings. GUI data types. These are used only for low-level GUI editing, so you won't need to know about them until you come to use the GUI components. View. Transports all drawing and mouse information. Area. And are defined by coordinates of top left corner, a width and a height. Graph. A list of floating point integers. Mouse. Mouse events, left button up / down, mouse move, etc. Color. In ARGB format. A is the transparency level. Pen. For drawing lines. Defined by color, thickness and style. Font. Font information comprising typeface, size and style. String format. Alignment information for drawing text. Bitmap. 32-bit image. Point array. An array of points, floating point pairs. Bitmap array. An array of bitmaps. Memory types. There are two types that represent buffers of data stored in memory. They are most frequently used for storing WAV file data for samples. Mem. A contiguous section of data in memory. Mem array. An array of memory sections of unlimited length. Special types. There are a handful of data types that stand on their own. MIDI. All standard MIDI messages. Voice. Currently only used within the MIDI to poly module, but may be extended in future. Bus. A user-defined set of data types that travel together through the same connector. Preset. Carries information about preset parameter and program changes for plugins. Template. Not a data type, instead this takes the type of whatever you connect it to. Converting between data types. In most cases you will create links between connectors of the same type. However, SynMaker supports several automatic and intuitive conversions between data types, which you'll find extremely handy. String. Boolean. You can get a Boolean value from a string and also convert from a Boolean to a string. INT. Boolean. Boolean and INT are also interchangeable. 0 represents a false value, any other value is considered to be true. String. Float. INT. You can convert back and forward between strings, floats and INTs. rounding will obviously occur when converting from float to int. The decimal part is just ignored. int/float. Poly/mono. A float or int can be connected to poly or mono inputs. These act like signals that maintain a constant level. You can't, however, connect a poly or mono to a float or int. In fact, poly and mono connectors can only be connected to themselves. MIDI. String. This is not so much a conversion as a handy way to check what MIDI data is coming from a MIDI output. Attach a string data component and node on/off, control, change and pitch bend messages etc. are shown together with the various parameters that define them. As this isn't a conversion as such, you need to force MIDI to string links by holding Shift+Ctrl when linking. Float array. String. You can easily convert between a string and a float array. String shortcuts. The string data component can be used as a shortcut for defining various GUI data types. Colors, areas, pens and more can all be defined in a single text string. Area. To create an area, use the format X, Y, W, H, where X and Y give the top left corner of the area and W and H give the width and height of the area. All dimensions are in grid squares, of course. Color. There are two ways to specify a color using a data string. You can use one of the 14 predefined colors, which are as follows: black, white, red, green, blue, yellow, gray. T black, T white, T red, T green, T blue, T yellow, T gray. The T colors are partially transparent. Use the color by name in the string component. Note that the color names are not sensitive to case. The second way to specify a color is by RGB. Use the format A, R, G, B. A is the transparency, R is the red component, G is the green component and B is the blue component. All values are integers in the range 0 to 255. Pen. A pen has three attributes: color, thickness and style. Using a string component, you can specify a pen by providing these attributes in the format color, thick, style. The color part is exactly the same as for specifying a color with a string, see above. The thickness is a floating point number in grid squares. The style can be any one of the following strings: solid, dash, dot, dash, dot, dash, dot, dot. You can leave the style parameter out and a solid style will be assumed. Font. Fonts can be generated by strings using the format typeface, size, style. Typeface is the name of the font face, e.g. Arial or Tahoma. Size is the height of the text in grid squares. It is not a point size. Style can be any combination of the following strings, in any order: normal, bold, italic, underline, strike. Some examples: bold italic, underline bold strike, italic underline. You can leave the style parameter out and a regular style will be assumed. String format. String formats are specified using the format style, horizoline, vertiline. The style can be any combination of the following strings, in any order: normal, right, left, now, wrap, vertical. Some examples: now wrap vertical, now wrap right to left. You can also use 0 to indicate no style options apply. For horizontal alignment, you can use left, center or right. For vertical alignment, you can use top, center or bottom.